All right.
All right.
We're back to the world of Dune.
That's right.
With Dune Part 2 on a budget of $190 million. This had some pretty good preview screenings in terms of numbers, Mason.
Oh, yes.
At time of recording, we don't have final. But on the Thursday in the
Isn't
US...
that just eating you up inside,
Yeah,
James?
it's
Because you
destroying
love
me.
having the numbers.
I don't even know what to do. It made $12 million on Thursday previews, which is double that of the last Dune movie, but also COVID, et cetera, and whatever.
Yes. Most of us watch it at home.
But Luis Fernando on Twitter has given these insights. On the 3-day US opening weekend, it's looking to make 80 to 90 million.
That's big numbers.
The 5-day opening overseas is 100 to 110, and that would make its global opening, which excludes China, 180 million to 200 million. Now, seeing as this is like obscure Star Wars and whatever,
Sure.
and somewhat
Beloved by millions.
yeah. But it's
I mean, not Star Wars numbers.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's somewhat more obscure, and even though Star Wars borrows a bunch of stuff from Dune, but
I think Denis Villeneuve probably borrowed some stuff from Star Wars.
he probably did.
Yeah.
He probably did. Well, he's also, and we'll talk about this, he's been storyboarding Dune since the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is like a passion project of him since he was a kid.
A little lad.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Mason,
Go on.
what do you think the story was?
Oh, come on, mate.
Yeah, man.
First of all, remember old Dune?
The one from the 80s.
No. Newer than that.
The one from 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
It's a sequel to that, first
Okay.
of all.
Yep, great.
Okay, so at the end of the last Dune, everybody wants to go to the planet of Arrakis, the planet of Dune,
For the fracas.
the fracas, and the spice, because the spice lets you do crazy space navigation.
Yeah, it's space navigation and drugs.
And also drugs.
Yeah. That's all good.
Anyway, people
It's
love
like
it.
huffing petrol,
But
basically.
it's the only place you can get the spice.
Yeah.
Which raises the question, what did they do before the spice? How'd they navigate?
How'd they get there in the first
The
place?
answer is computers, if I recall, but then they outlawed computers.
They outlawed computers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, don't they have like their ships, they're organic something?
I don't know.
I'm sure that's something like that.
Okay,
I don't
sure,
know.
all right, okay.
I can't remember. I haven't read Dune. I should preface this by saying that.
Preface of Dune.
And you haven't read Dune?
I've read some of First Dune.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
We're pretty good, aren't we? We've
Yeah.
done our research.
Together, we've read some of Dune.
That's right, but there are two houses.
Yep.
That's
Well, there's more than that. Even I know that, having not read Dune, but go on.
That's right. And so, well, there's two important ones, and the other ones suck, and they know it.
Yeah, they do.
In their heart of hearts, they know.
Yep.
But it's the Atreides and the Harkonnens, and the Atreides are the good guys, and they're all beautiful.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Harkonnens are the bad guys, and they're battling over Dune.
Yep.
But also, there's the Fremen who live on Dune.
Yeah.
And in the last movie, the Harkonnen killed all the Atreides.
Yeah, well,
except for Paul
they thought
Atreides.
they did.
The most beautiful of them all.
The most beautiful man. And he escaped into the dunes.
That's
the
right.
sand dunes. And in this one, he's doing a big rebellion so he can
he's
take
doing.
over the galaxy potentially and become.
That's right. Which is going to be good, I think. I foresee no complications.
That's what I took from this.
But I can't foresee the future, but he can foresee the future sometimes.
Yeah. This guy's Luke Skywalker.
In a way. Sure. In a way, he is.
He's as cool as Luke Skywalker.
That's right.
He never gets anything wrong. That's what I like about it. I tell you what, Mason.
Go on.
I thoroughly enjoyed this.
I did also.
It's good that movies are good again.
And they're back.
We've had a few rough. We had a rough start.
The entire first part of 2024 up until this point, pretty
Yes,
much.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
A visual treat. I would say
Yeah.
I haven't seen something this visually arresting since
Argyle.
Rebel Moon Part 1. I was going to say Argyle's good too. But, you like sci-fi epics like
I do.
Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1.
Sure, I love
How does
that.
this compare to that?
Better than that, actually.
By how
somehow.
much? By what magnitude?
10 to 1,000 times.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And it's just, it feels cohesive and it feels massive.
Yeah.
And, in a way that it doesn't feel like it's just like, oh, look at this society. Aren't they crazy? How they live in this. It's a big city.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I like it enough.
Some stuff floats and they're floating. There's a spider lady. I mean, there was a spider lady in June 1.
That's true. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
Okay,
but yeah, no, you're right. And I think, everything, the world here, and they're not lingering on things that they kind of don't have to. When they do linger on something, it's for like story purposes or world building and whatever, you know what I mean? Or you drink in or whatever. Whereas I didn't like Rebel Moon. I don't know if anybody knows that, but like that just felt like slow-mo shots of just whatever, you know? And this is like...
Slow-mo shots of boring things.
Yeah, that's accurate. So there was actually a Times of London interview with Denis Villeneuve who had this to say about dialogue.
His name might be Dennis.
Yes, it might be Denis Villeneuve. He said, frankly, I hate dialogue. Dialogue is for theatre and television. I don't remember movies because of a good line. I remember movies because of strong image.
Hasn't seen Tombstone then, clearly.
Mustn't have, no.
I got 2 guns, 1 for each of you.
Yeah, I love that. I'm not interested in dialogue at all.
I'm just saying, what if Paul Atreides had said that?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
You know? I got 2 guns, 1 for you now and 1 for you in the future. Because I can see it in the future also.
I got the blue eye.
But we don't use guns anymore because of lasers and nuclear explosions.
Sometimes they use guns,
I got knives.
like sniper rifles
I got 2
and
knives.
stuff. He does have
2 knives
knives
for you.
He said, I'm not interested in dialogue at all. Pure image and sound, that is the power of cinema. But it is something not obvious when you watch movies today. Movies have been corrupted by television.
Uh-oh.
I think also he understands cinematic language so much more than us, I would even say.
Sure, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll
that
see.
he is using language, but he doesn't have people just say the stuff.
Sure,
You know,
absolutely.
like it's all storytelling in this.
Yeah.
And it's similarly with Blade Runner. You understand what is happening by emotions, expressions, context of the scenes that they're in. He's so good at doing that.
James, you are doing a masterclass right now.
Am I?
Did Denis Villeneuve take your masterclass on,
He
on
did.
the movies?
And explaining the movies that he made. Yeah, he did actually. Yeah.
Wow.
I just think that's.
And he's like, I finally get it. I finally get what I've been doing.
I just think it's just really incredible. I think it's so precise. And apparently as mentioned, he started storyboarding this in the 80s just for fun. Like he knew going into this exactly what he was looking for, which no doubt helped with the budget because a lot of this is done practically. I don't think there's a single VFX shot in this, Mason.
Absolutely not. This is all for real.
Yeah, there obviously is. We'll talk about it. But they've also got this really interesting method of bringing this to IMAX. This is from cinematographer Greg Fraser.
That's the guy.
The guy who
The
did
main guy, Australia's own Greg Fraser.
That's right, he is. What did he work on? He worked on some...
He created the volume.
There you go.
Yeah. He's the only one who can do it properly.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Because he did the Batman as well. Because if you look at the Batman, that uses the volume, but you fucking wouldn't know it to look at it.
That's right.
So Dune was shot for IMAX digitally. Then it was transferred onto 35mm film, which was then scanned back into digital.
Oh.
And the reason they do that, because if you look at a lot of digital, and I guess you might say Avatar.
It's too clean.
It's too clean. Whereas the kind of the idea of using it just on film, the aesthetic, it might be too gritty and you might lose some detail. But by bringing it sounds insane to do it this
They
way.
put it on 35mm and then they buried it at Bondi Beach.
That's right, yeah.
And they dug it up.
And then so you get kind of the best of both worlds, apparently. And I think that's amazing that somebody figured that out.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, the cast, Mason.
Oh, beautiful cast. Even the Uggos are beautiful.
Even the Uggos have got something going on, don't they?
Yeah.
So returning Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, etc.
Sure,
I really think that Timothy
and some secret
secret
stars who are in the marketing, but
yeah, might be in the movie for not very long. There's one bit of casting that I don't love, which we can talk about. It's not a spoiler, but
it's Christopher Walken, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah. It's nothing against Christopher Walken.
Okay,
but Timothy Chalamet. I'm glad they didn't shoot these back to back because
he's gotten better as an actor.
Yeah, and I never disliked him. I think he's great.
I'm not really familiar with much that he's done aside from Dune and
Wonka.
Call
Me by Your Name or whatever.
I didn't see that one. Yeah, I'm just not caught up with a lot of stuff. Like he was in that movie where he's a cannibal or something.
I haven't seen
Cannibal
that one.
Kids.
Cannibal Kids.
A couple of Cannibal Kids.
He's got his presence is really kind of.
I was gonna say because so much of this movie is about so he's an off-worlder, but the Fremen. Some of the religious extremists in the Fremen have a prophecy that someone will arrive
geeks, the nerds.
Yeah, exactly. They'll arrive from off-world.
That's you, the audience, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Rooting for this idiot.
Someone will come from off-world and they will free the Fremen.
Whoa.
And he is... some people think that he is the one.
Yeah.
Because also he is one of the products of a selective breeding program, a secret selective breeding program from an order of all female kind of spies,
soothsayer,
assorted troublemakers. So he is both.
Yeah, he's a manufactured prophet.
Yes,
kind of
not
Messiah figure.
Not the one they were expecting.
No, because they wanted a girl.
Is
that right?
Yeah. So basically, the idea in also in the Dune universe.
Yeah, the Dune
universe. You can apparently choose what sex you want your children to be.
Yeah.
And the idea was that Leto Atreides, who is Oscar Isaac and Rebecca Ferguson were going to have a girl.
Yeah.
The idea was that the Bene Gesserit, who are the religious order, the idea was that they were going to make them have a girl, and then House Harkonnen has a boy, and then we're going to marry them off together.
Yep.
And that was going to result in like unifying the power, and then the Bene Gesserit were going to have ultimate power in the universe, etc. But then
they're building a Death Star.
Exactly,
but through babies.
Yeah. But then the Atreides family decided to have a boy, so it's kind of ruined the situation.
Universe.
He ruined the universe. But yeah, so he is Timothée Chalamet has to play a guy who has an alleged destiny that people believe, and then he has to become that.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily even believe it or
but is he going to buy into his hype,
Yeah.
and is he going to portray a man who is so charismatic and powerful, who can do that?
And he can knife fight.
And he can knife fight, and that is that is a lot to put on one actor, I think.
Yeah.
Especially one who hasn't. I was in Interstellar. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, barely.
Yeah,
he talked about that recently, and he was like, I cried when I saw that because I was barely in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I think there are definitely some scenes, and there are some scenes in this
Yeah.
that he really rises to the
Great.
challenge in
He's
this.
really, really good.
He really, you believe that he could buy into that hype and come into that power and convince everybody that he is there.
Even if he's not necessarily believe it.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
And I think it's also his motivations are interesting because it's initially just revenge, really.
Yes.
But then it becomes more than that. And I love this idea, and apparently, not having read Dune, Frank Herbert saw a lot of people like miss
Frank
this.
Herbert hadn't read
even read it. Yeah.
Why would you? It's long, it's boring.
Yeah.
God.
He didn't even proofread it.
Yeah.
But that a lot of people took the wrong message from it, being that he's a messiah and he saved everything and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, well, that's not what, and that's why he wrote like some of those subsequent works, because it's to be like, actually.
That the sequel Dune, Paul Atreides ruins everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
Everybody
really
hates
interesting.
Paul.
Everybody hates Paul, yeah. Anyway, in terms of new cast, I thought they were great. Florence Pugh's in this. Austin Butler plays Sperm Atreides in this. Just a big white sperm man.
That's right, yeah.
Leah Seydoux in it. Oh, apparently Austin Butler cut back, this is by Variety, on his method acting for Dune Part 2, says Denis Villeneuve, and he was only 25 or 30% in character when the camera was off.
Oh, that's good.
That's still probably too much to be that guy.
Yeah, sure.
But that's really good, I guess.
He barely murdered anybody.
He barely murdered anybody. But no, he was...
But the remainder was Elvis, obviously.
Yeah. He was really good as well.
I agree.
As the character Sting portrayed in the Dune movie in the 80s.
He's doing a very, speaking of accents, he's doing a very Stellan Skarsgård accent.
Yeah, he's
like the Harkonnens are from Sweden or whatever,
yeah,
it seems.
That's right.
But yeah, I think they don't have a lot of screen time together.
No.
But they are sort of in a way meant to be the opposite numbers of one another. So they both have to be charismatic.
It's Khan and Shatner, or whatever Shatner's name is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
In those movies
yeah.
and show, yeah. But yeah, the Christopher Walken casting just to me felt odd because I love
he's
Christopher
the Emperor
Walken.
of the Universe.
He's the Emperor of the Universe, but it's just Christopher Walken and he's got his big Rick and Morty hair that he has now and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just doing the Christopher Walken voice, which is, of course,
that's his own voice.
That's his voice and that's who he is and this is exactly what he does. And he's never been bad. He's not even bad in this. I just think he's miscast. Where if you look at like Baron Harkonnen with Stellan Skarsgård, who took
bloody Skarsgård.
Yeah, he took like 8 hours to get into that suit and whatever and all that, and he couldn't go to the bathroom at all, and what like he used to take Imodium so he wouldn't go to the toilet and whatever.
You also watched the Stellan
I watched the thing, yeah, exactly.
Iconic Roles video.
Great, really good. But whereas Christopher Walken's just like, hello, I'm the Emperor of the Universe, and it just didn't work for me.
What would you? But I mean, he is bound by he is.
Oh, no, I just think not him is my point.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Don't cast him. Because if you look at
you
those...
can only see him as Christopher Walken.
Yes. And I think in this, when you've got this, you kind of have to believe that you're on this planet and these people are aliens.
And Christopher Walken is there.
And Christopher Walken's there. That's my problem with it.
Okay,
like Dave Bautista's in this, but I'm not like, that's Dave Bautista every time I see him, you know? So
what if they gave him not... What if he doesn't have... What if they gave him a different look?
Maybe if he had a ponytail.
Sure, okay.
A cool ponytail.
I see what you're saying, but I mean...
Even younger Christopher Walken, maybe. I don't know.
See, that's the thing. I didn't feel... Because he's not...
Again, he's not bad.
And he's not in a lot of this.
No,
he's
not.
got 5 minutes of screen time. I kind of felt like... Who would have been a better Emperor of the Universe?
The other Skarsgårds, obviously. Well, Ian McKellen would be the obvious choice.
I would say
bring him over.
I would say Ian McKellen, I think.
No, that would be strange. I don't know.
Patrick Stewart?
Well, he was
also
Dune.
in Dune. There you
Who
go.
was he in Dune, the original one?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was going to say Ian McKellen, Emperor of the Universe. You know?
Yeah.
Who's an old guy. Who's an old British guy. A withered old...
One of the two Ronnies?
Michael Ironside.
Okay, sure. Yep.
One of the two Ronnies, eh?
Yeah, sure.
Great, those are all good choices.
Ronnie Corbett.
Perfect. Anyway, you know how they did the sandworms, the situation, in the book.
What does that mean?
Which I haven't read. In the book.
I have a note here that says Arrakis Uberpool.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You summon them and you hope you get a good one.
In the book, apparently it's very vague on how you get on them.
Okay.
Whereas this, they show you the process, and it's a real ordeal to get on a sandworm. And again, you want it to be a good one, not too small, not too big.
Yeah.
You know, you basically got to fall onto it and grapple it and then control it using its kind of air pocket wavy things and whatever. And that all, I thought that was beautifully executed. A lot of that, they built like the back of a sandworm.
Okay.
And like had, sand and wind like blasting you in the face as you kind of... This is something they spent a lot of time on getting right. Where if you look at like the original movies, it's just green screens and
of course it is,
80s blue screens and just kind of floating up and down or whatever.
Who do you reckon was the guy who was like, you know what, we should go with green?
I mean, I don't know. It was blue initially.
That's what I'm saying.
Or before that, it was a whole different thing.
I'm saying who was the guy who was like, you know what, green would work better.
Don't know.
Yeah,
I think maybe because there's more that kind of blue in costumes and
probably.
on people in movies.
Yes.
So I would say it doesn't have to be any particular color.
That's true.
It just needs to be a hard color.
Yeah, that you can cut out.
You can cut out, yeah. So yeah, that all made sense to me. But but I don't know how you get 50 people onto one of these.
yeah. How do you slow it down?
Yeah.
Maybe you just have to keep doing laps and one person gets on it
One at a time. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Or there's a worm stop.
There might be a worm stop.
Might be a worm stop.
What did you see this in, by the way?
Regular format. No, extreme screen.
I saw it in D-Box.
Oh,
a
did you
shaking
really?
chair, which I turned right down.
Of course.
I didn't turn it completely off because it's not a fun experience to be sitting in a shaky chair every time someone fires a gun and whatever. But I would say if you can see this on like IMAX, which I couldn't do. But there's so many like the action sequences in this, and I would say that there's not even that many really.
No.
But there's a moment where they take down a walking kind of crab vehicle. And they're hiding behind the legs, and there's like an ornithopter trying to like got them pinned down, and all of that is just, and it's just a helicopter and a crab leg.
And a great sense of scale as well.
Yeah, my God. Yeah. Just amazing. So good. So, I don't know. It's just, movies are good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
Sometimes movies are good, yeah. Sometimes movies are good.
Should we do some spoilers?
Let's do some spoilers. I'm going to say best movie ever.
Definitely best movie ever.
Best movie of the year thus far?
Thus far, definitely.
I mean, until The Crow comes out.
Yeah.
South African Crow.
Until
band.
Coyote versus Acme gets leaked.
Oh,
another Warner Brothers property. Yeah. There's no way this would have got greenlit under Zaslav if the first one wasn't already like.
Yeah, because he would have been like, based on a book, boring.
Yeah, no way. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Or themes, don't like that. People would get upset by the themes. Or it parallels real life in some way.
Yuck.
Don't like that.
Yeah. Best movie ever, obviously.
Yeah.
I would also say these aren't for everyone.
Okay.
It's like hard sci-fi. You got to pay attention. You got to kind of be into this kind of thing, I guess.
I saw some I saw it and then I composed my thoughts. And then I'm like, I wonder what other people have to say about this. And I saw a couple of reviews that were basically along the lines of, if you didn't see the previous one, you wouldn't understand what was happening here. I think you would.
Yeah, I would say see the previous one.
Yeah,
Would you say it's stronger than the previous one? Because people are saying it's more action-packed and whatever. And whatever they say.
Yes.
Yeah, but it also, I think these obviously work well. Two movies that you should see. Maybe not in this order, but...
Yeah. There was an IMAX double feature in Melbourne, and I thought, I don't know, if I can sit through 5+ hours.
Do they have a break in the middle where you can go to the bathroom?
No, they gave you one of those things you put up your nose.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and you had to pee out of that.
I like how nobody's sweating in this as well. If you're in the desert, you can't sweat.
Yeah.
Apparently, I saw an interview with Javier Bardem where he's like, I'm a big sweater, and I'm not supposed to sweat because you're not supposed to be wasting water in the desert.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they fixed that?
Just mopping him down
Just
between
mopping,
takes.
just mopping.
Yeah,
all right,
because
great.
he's just out there in the desert, just eating sand all day. People fainting and wearing big costumes and all of that. Anyway, so there's a few things they changed. This is spoilers. So the Baron who gets killed by Paul Atreides in this.
Yes.
His name's Paul, and I love that. he's killed by a baby. By
Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson has a baby.
Yes.
I was reading again. I haven't
she's
read
talking
it.
to throughout the movie.
Which I liked, but it's a baby that it's like...
It's a baby that demands exposition.
Yes, it wants to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
But it's
you can talk, but you can't look around, baby. Great
yeah,
stuff.
It's like a wise little baby that kills this guy.
Yes.
And I think this is probably a better way to interpret that. I think that's a strange thing to kind of drop into this universe. I don't know. What do you think for this version? Because he's pretty faithful on the whole.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
No, I'd rather he be killed by Paul and not a baby.
Yeah.
The sentiment I'm gathering on Twitter is even big fans of the original books are like, yes, a lot of changes have been made, but it's mostly for the better, and it works with this narrative. Nobody
and not to say the book is bad.
But I mean, nobody. I can't see a lot of people out there going the changes, that are very precious about the material and are saying, okay, no, it must be adhered to completely. So
yeah, absolutely. Another one is that a lot of the characters in this, the female characters, including Zendaya's character. That she's on board with him being the big prophet Messiah guy at the end.
In the movie, not so much.
Yeah, and
I think that was.
I like that too.
Yeah, again, I didn't know where that was going to go, but I mean, obviously, she tells him that she'll love him for as long as he stays who he is, and he's like, well,
I got some news for you.
Got some news for you, baby.
I think that's interesting.
I'm going to change who I am
because he drinks the worm poison at one point, so he can see the future. So he knows who he's going to turn into. He knows that by taking over as emperor and then entering into a war with all the other houses, all the shittier ones, who don't accept his legitimacy, that there's like millions of lives are going to be lost, and he still walks into that role knowingly. I thought that was really interesting, and then to have her go, I don't love this actually.
Yeah,
and apparently Denis Villeneuve did this purposefully because the idea behind the original Dune, which I haven't read, is that he's not a hero. He's a bad guy. Yeah. It's something that he eventually comes around on. And
because you don't want him to be the guy who shows up on this planet with all these indigenous people and is like, yeah, no, I'm here to save you, actually. Yeah. Oh, and it worked out. Yeah. That's great.
And also, as mentioned, like, he's manufactured. He's not, he is a prophet, but he was...
In a way, we're all manufactured.
It's the same way that Anakin Skywalker was made,
Oh.
Who did it first? Who's to say?
Frank Herbert.
Frank Herbert, probably.
Decades ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I also thought it was really interesting because she did some crying earlier, but then later as she's leaving, you can see she's upset and whatever, but then she steadies herself and she's not crying and she's like, I'm not shedding tears for this fucking guy. I'm writing a big worm out of here.
That's right, yeah.
We're enemies later, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to marry somebody else. That's not cool. He said he wouldn't do that. Or he didn't say he wouldn't do that, but it was implied that he wouldn't do that.
That's right.
That's what I thought.
It's sort of implied by all the kisses we did.
That's right.
I was going to, just a stray thought, I love the Harkonnen home planet.
Yeah.
They've got kind of that's how you do an alien world.
It reminded me of the game Killzone, which this may borrow from.
Oh, yeah,
who did it first? Who's to say?
That's a great
I haven't
point.
read the book, but go on, yeah.
But they had those kind of like ink fireworks.
Yeah, I really like that too.
That was a great like inspired bit of effects work.
Yeah.
God. Good. Black and white world, pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that was the idea behind that there was did they say it was a black sun?
They did, yeah.
Is that like a perspective, like similarly to Oppenheimer, or was that just what that world looks like? Just a horrible black and white
I think that's what it
world?
looks like because there are moments in it where they move out of the shade. They move into the shade rather, and you can see them in kind of normal hue.
Oh, okay,
but when you go into the sun, everybody's completely black and white.
Yeah, because when they arrive on planet Dune, they're not completely white.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Also, Anya Taylor-Joy is the baby.
That's correct, yes.
And that's fun, I guess. This is a book spoiler, so people might want to avoid this.
Okay.
When does Paul turn into a big worm? What book is that?
I don't think he does turn into a worm.
Doesn't he turn into a worm?
I think it's his son who turns into a worm.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's Leto the second who turns into a worm.
Jared Leto the second. Well, now he's going to appear, isn't he?
Yeah, that's 3. What were you thinking?
I don't know.
Oh, I can't go to any fashion shows.
God, he would have loved to have been the lead in this, don't you think?
Oh, my God, yeah.
I mean, he was in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Being Jesus or whatever.
Maybe he showed up and he's like, my name's the same name as the guy.
Think about it.
Come on, I could be the adult version.
I could turn into a big worm.
Come on.
I'm already a big slippery worm.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's fun. All right, cool. Anyway, we're getting one more from Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, he said he's going to do Dune Messiah. I've got the list here. He's going to do Dune Messiah.
Yep.
He's going to do
Rendezvous. Isn't that more like an epilogue kind of than a...
I don't know,
Yeah,
James.
yeah.
I don't know.
Go on, though.
He's going to do Rendezvous with Rama, which is by either Isaac Asimov or Arthur C. Clarke. I can't remember. He's going to do a version of Cleopatra, and he's going to do Secret Project.
He also mentioned this week that he loves the aesthetic of the Batman Beyond universe, and he'd love to do like a Blade Runner / Batman.
Maybe
movie.
that's Secret Project.
I would love him to do that.
That's Warner Brothers.
That's Warner Brothers, and he could do a Batman movie. Why not? Give him a Batman movie. Let him make a movie that makes money. Yeah. I think this is the first one.
This one is going to make some money. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's his first one that's going to make.
Exclusively makes amazing movies that mostly don't do well.
How has he made his way to this point?
Because they're very good.
They're very good, but Hollywood doesn't care. Especially, I guess he got in on Hollywood at the point where creativity was still rewarded.
Yes.
Like if this was his, if like you said, if they would attempted to make a Dune now and they did it and it didn't make any money, he'd be out the door.
They'd kill him.
They would kill him. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at his box office. I mean, like Prisoners and like this and like Enemy and all of those ones. They're like smaller projects, but he's big. Like Blade Runner bombed horribly, despite being arguably. I wouldn't even say arguably. It's better than the first Blade Runner, and even better than the movie Soldier, which is also set in the Blade Runner.
It's better
universe.
Than the TV series Neuromancer. Impossible to say, isn't it?
No, it probably is.
Yeah.
Got some reviews here, though.
Yeah, go on.
From people who have written in on either Twitter or our Facebook Great Mates group.
Oh, yes.
Nate says, I mean, it's best movie ever for Dune Part 2, but those legitimately calling it the best movie ever are almost certainly the same people who said the same about Avatar when it came out, only to vaguely remember it a few years later. I think it's much better than original Avatar.
Okay.
And I think this will be remembered.
Sure.
Very fondly, but
and if you compare this to, say, most recent Avatar, I'm sure there are people who are feel very strongly about either one of those. But I think they're kind of it's sort of, to me, it's an apples and oranges kind of thing.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Way of Water is a technical showcase.
Yes.
That has a plot that is decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, there's emotional stakes in that movie, and I'm sure people were very moved by that movie. But I feel like this one had more emotional stakes that I could believe in, I think.
Absolutely.
But I think, from a technical perspective, it's good and the scale is good and the effects are good, but I'm not intellectually, I'm not blown away by what they did in this movie. It looks good, but I think the things that Cameron achieved in The Way of Water, incredible. You know what I mean?
Better than this, would you say?
Better than this.
Avatar 2 is better than this movie.
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Unbelievable, this guy.
I'll say anything.
Gibson Crandall says, as a movie, I think Dune is nearly flawless. As a huge book fan, I'm slightly more conflicted, but still really love the movie. Alexis Gentry, who you might know as Trashwire on various social medias, she said, absolutely loved it. It gave me the same feeling as when I saw Lord of the Rings in theaters for the first time. Just an amazing cinematic experience. Nate says, Nate Flicks and Chill. There we go, that's a good name. Just saw Dune Part 2. Denis Villeneuve is the Mahdi, M-A-H-D-I, of cinema. Best movie ever, seriously.
That's the top guy.
It is. It's seriously one of the best movies ever. Red Line Flame says, I recently saw the movie Wonka and I was surprised how good it was. I really enjoyed it. Matt Berry would be the perfect choice to play another Oompa Loompa, and Matt Berry can sing. It's a good point. And Ryan Newer says, best movie ever. I loved it and spent much of the runtime thinking, I can't believe they'd let this get made. Yeah, me too. I left the theatre.
There's an episode of How Did This Get Made?
Yeah.
A good movie.
I left the theatre 12 hours ago and I'm still gathering my thoughts. All in all, it seems like people are enjoying the movie Dune a lot. Dune. So there you go. Dune 3, I guess, 3 years away at the very least, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Assuming Warner Brothers are still around.
Because I think that picks up, like, having not read the book, like 9 or so years after, isn't it? Or like a decade of war and atrocities, and then Paul Atreides is like, maybe I shouldn't have.
Maybe my son should become a worm. Oh, come on, Dad. No, you got to become a worm.
Did you like the little worm?
Yes.
Also, the worms are like, that's the Sarlacc, sort of.
In a way it is, isn't
it? Who did it first? We don't know.
Impossible to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. And I know in Spice, etc. There's a bunch of other stuff. I know.
Death sticks and so forth.
You don't need to email me, all right? Yeah. All right, shall we move on to the next segment of the show?
Yes.
But what is it?
It's what we're reading.
Yep.
What are we going to read?
Whoa.